So you said sometimes you just know of the hit songs, the number one songs. Were there ones that you just knew? Were they all like that? Were none of them like that?
One and a half.
Okay.
1.5 songs. I mean, there were songs that I went, that's a hit. And particularly if I was producing, somebody, and I was in the middle of, like Montgomery Gentry, I go, this is them, this is a hit. I know it, But as far as just as being a songwriter, Real Good Man. And I knew Real Good Man was a hit from the minute my friend Claudia Young met my wife. And she said, I love your husband. And I'll tell you why, he's a bad boy, but he's a good man. And as soon as she said it, I went, ka-ching, But it was a room full of songwriters, so I thought, well, everybody's going to write it tomorrow. But nobody heard it. And so George Tarrant and I wrote it, and I knew just with the title before we even wrote the song, this is a country hit. And we originally wrote it as a ballad, and it was just not right. And I knew it, and I was frustrated as hell. And he was packing his guitar up to go home, and I had mine in my hand. I was mad, and so I just started, and we knocked it out. That one I knew, and when we wrote it, said hit, did the demo, said hit.
When you right after you finished writing it, after that frustrating moment, you finished the song, it's a hit. Did you have a vision for who it was going to cut? Who was going to cut it?
No, I really didn't. I've always kind of written like I was going to make a record and just hoped that somebody else would want to say it, but I thought there were a lot of people that could do it. And, at one point, Tim McGraw and Toby Keith were kind of butting heads. Each of them wanted it. Tim recorded it, and he did it. He does it way different than I do it. I do it real bluesy, and he does it country, like he's supposed to do, like a country artist would do, especially if you want to get on the radio. The way I do it would never get on the radio. But so when I heard his version, I didn't like it because it was different than mine, and I had demo envy. And I thought, man, only if Toby could have gotten it, man, I know he could have done something with it, And then I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in a friend of mine's driveway, and he got in the truck, and as soon as he got in, Real Good Man came on the radio. It was the first time I heard it. I said, oh, this is my song. We sat there and listened to it, and halfway through the first verse, I'm thinking, God dang, this sounds like a hit. And I totally get it, And my buddy turns to me and he goes, You're crazy. This is a hit. You're right. It's funny how that stuff works. And then the other one was When I Get Where I'm Going. But what's funny about that, we wrote it and did the work tape, and we listened to it like 3 or 4 times. And I looked at my co-writer. I said, this is a smash. And he said, no, it'll get cut. He was older than me and sort of a mentor. He said, it'll get cut, but it's not a smash. It's an artsy song. And we were both right. It probably shouldn't have been a single, but for some reason, Brad, I was talking to the head of his label. They're trying to pick a single, and he said, what's your favorite song on the album, Joe? And he said, probably When I Get Where I'm Going. He said, let's just put it out. And they did, and it hit.
Timeless.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So I was showing my girlfriend last night, I was like, hey, we're doing a podcast tomorrow with Rivers. And so I pulled up some videos and whatnot. By the way, your picture on your website we're going to have to throw it on the screen because it looks just like the Dos Equis commercial.
I've been told that. I got to get a new headshot for that reason alone.
I mean, it's awesome. The most interesting man in the world. But
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, it's Dos Equis.
It's Dos Equis. That could be your side career right there. You just replace the Dos Equis guy. But she was curious to know if you envision that as a duet.
When I Get Where I'm Going?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, I was I think in California, and I can't remember where I was, but I was driving the car. I remember it was raining, so it wasn't California probably. And my cell phone rang, and I answered hello, and it was Kimberly Paisley, and she says, Rivers, Brad just had Dolly Parton sing on When I Get Where I'm Going. You got to get down here and hear it. It's amazing. I said, "Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me!" I said, "I can't. I'm out of town, but I want to hear it." And she said, "Oh my gosh, can I talk to Brad?" And she said, "Yeah, hold on 1 second." He says he'll call you back when he quits crying. And I went, "Yeah, and I can't hear. I can't. I'm out of town. I can't even. I got to wait for." So I got back in town. I called him. I said, "Can I come here?" He said, "Yeah, I'll get you a copy of it." And I go, "Oh, great. Who knows when that's going to happen?" The next day, I was writing with the guy, George Charon, that I wrote "When I Get Where I'm Going With," and we're sitting there and getting ready to write a song, and I looked over and there was a CD somebody had slid under my door, 5 minutes before. I said, "Hold on a second." I went and got it, and it was "When I Get Where I'm Going," not for distribution, Nice. And I said, "Oh, this is our record, man. You want to hear it?" And he said, Yeah. So I put it in. We played it, and when it was over, neither one of us said anything, and I just played it again. And we didn't say anything, and I played it again. It was about 4 or 5 listens before somebody said something, The Dolly thing was amazing. It was a total surprise. The whole Hallelujah thing, that we didn't write that. That was totally her ad-libbing.